Hello, what's up YouTube? So I'm sure you're all probably wondering why I haven't been on my PS3 playing with some of you guys who watch my channel and whatnot. And what the problem is, this is my PS3. And by the way, you shouldn't be doing this, what I'm doing right now. Don't ever do that with your hard drive. My PS3 is broken, so I don't really care. Hard drive is fine. Well, probably not anymore because I'm doing this like an asshole. The fan is fine. So you're probably wondering what the hell is the problem then? Well, some bug, and to put some context in this, a PS3 unit has 3 times the wattage of the average household. Okay, so it's putting out a lot of fucking power. Some bug decided it was a really bright idea to crawl inside and through the power unit, and the bug of course was probably fried in an instant and disintegrated in bright agony that was probably less than a second long. And so now what happens is when I try to power this on, the green light would come on and then turn off immediately. It wouldn't even give me a red light in a couple seconds or anything because this right here is fried. So, in other words, this console is useless. Now, the really annoying part of it is typically if you have a problem where the green light will come on and then it goes off and then the red light comes back on, you could typically just do this to this part once you're loosening the screws and press it, because there's pins right underneath this. So typically you could do that if it was just, you know, the fact that this came loose. You could just basically press down on it to get it tightened back up to get the connection that it needs, because the power runs through this thing, and this is what dictates whether or not your console is going to fucking power on. If a bug crawls through it and fries the whole fucking part of this, on the other hand, it's not ever going to work. So until I either get a new system or I get a new one of these parts, and and now here's another thing. Before you even unplug these, make sure your console is not plugged in, okay? Before you even touch this white wire here and that white wire, make sure your console's not plugged in. Because if you pull these out while it's still powered on, you're gonna get electrocuted. Like, that is no joke. But once you pull these suckers out, you can you would just lightly pry this. You don't want to put too much pressure on this guy. I already put a bunch of pressure. It's probably already broken. But as you can see here, the 2 prongs I'm talking about are right here. I'm touching them right now. Okay. And then this whole entire thing right here is the power unit. So I wanted to do this because some of you guys might be having a similar problem to me, but not quite the same. So you might be able to take this guy out, put him back on, press down on him, and fix your console. In my case, however, what happened, you can see this part in here. Now, when you have it like this, you can see what's going on in here and everything. You can see, well, I'm not sure if you can see it or not, but that coil, this coil right here, has quite a few interesting little scorch marks on it. And this part right here melted itself because a bug decided to crawl right next to that fucking coil and got promptly fried in an instant. So that's really annoying. And I already shook out the bug in the console and everything, and of course it was dead, obviously. But the point being, this console's just, like, I could save this and sell it. Well, maybe not anymore. I could even maybe put a new one of these in and fix my console. The problem with doing that, though, is these things right here are probably the second most expensive part in a PS3, and the hard drive being the most expensive. So these cost so much, it's not worth buying another one of these to fix this. And The fan, in the motherboard, I could probably sell that if I really wanted to. You know, there's probably somebody looking for a brand new motherboard that's still working and everything, or a used motherboard. This would count as a used motherboard. And then the fan would work. Everything in this console is still fine, except for this fucker now. And it's all because one bug decided it wanted to commit suicide. So in case you guys were wondering, that's where I am. That's why I haven't been on my PS3. That's why you guys haven't been playing with you. And the only other PS3 I have is also broken. That's because it's a Super Slim. And a Super Slim has a moving hard drive, not a normal hard drive. So the moving hard drive broke, and that's why I can't play on that one. And I can't take this hard drive and put it into that one because this is a stationary hard drive. Now, what that means is this hard drive, like this, is a separate part. The hard drive on the Super Slims are built into the motherboard. And so rather than having, you know, this thing have its own moving parts inside of it, the moving parts move along the along near the motherboard, which is cheaper to manufacture because instead of manufacturing two different parts, they manufactured one part together, and that's why Super Slims also typically cost less, and it also makes it more compact. But the problem with that is the more moving parts you have, because in a Super Slim there is more moving parts. It's just like with a gun or a car, the more moving parts you have, the more likely it is to break. Whereas this only has maybe a total of 15 moving parts. A Super Slim's going to have a total of 40 or 50 moving parts. Now, out of all the consoles, the most robust PS3 is going to be the 500 gigabyte Slim, which is what this is. But even as robust as it is, if a bug crawls inside of it, it's going to get fried. On a side note, now this is actually a genuine excuse, and you can't see this. This, by the way, is a box for a Huey on tablet, because yes, I do draw digitally, which I need to get a new P80. But I have a PS2 under this, and the PS2 still works, so I'll probably be doing YouTube videos of PS2 games and whatnot, playing through them and whatnot, and just how well they age and other things, and also telling you the knowledge that I have on that particular game, because most of the games I own, I pretty much know everything inside and out of. So if there's any PS2 games that you really want me to play that you just didn't get to play back in the day or something, or that you can think of, or any achievements that you just did not accomplish back in the day, let me know, in the comment section. Just mention PS2 games. I do have, my laptop still works, which is nice. I don't think I'm getting another PS3, guys, so I think I'm probably going to get a better laptop. I'm probably going to play on Steam. My PSN was The Authority, of course. You guys probably already know that. And that's spelled as The Author TY, all lowercase. If you want to add me on Steam, it's a slightly different, but it's the same name. So it's capital T, The Author TY, all as one word. So if you guys want to add me on Steam and you have a Steam account and you want to play with me there, it might be a while before I get like Call of Duty games, or I get Iron Sight, or other games, but I will be probably getting a gamer laptop for that specific purpose. And the other thing is I'll probably have my own servers, because you can do that when you're on Steam. And this is not sponsored by Steam. This just I've been playing around with Steam and whatnot, and I actually like Steam. I will say there are things that I did like about the PS3, other than the fact that it keeps fucking breaking on me. And personally, the PS2 is the greatest console I've ever owned, and I've had pretty much every console ever, except for some of the new ones. Like I haven't had a Wii U, and I haven't had a Wii or whatever, the Nintendo Switch, I think it's called. I haven't had those. I haven't had a PS Vita or a PS Go because they're just really a watered down version compared to the PSP, which I did have one of those. But you know, I do like the consoles I currently own, which I have a Nintendo 64 in here somewhere, and a PS2. But I'm probably, in terms of online gaming, I'm probably going to be gaming on, you know, Steam. So if you guys want to meet me there or whatever, and I'll probably have my private owned servers where we can play like modded Call of Duty games. If you ever watch Vanos and everything, and you're wondering how he's playing on fucking Candyland, the map for zombies and whatnot, it's because he's not playing on his PS4 like he normally does. He swapped over to his PC. So there is some benefits to playing on those type of consoles or whatnot. The downside, the obvious downside, is when you're playing Call of Duty or through certain companies, they don't treat PC players equally. So that being said, they don't have updates as often as they should, and so there's some problems with that. But there are some advantages, you know, like the fact that my laptop, whatever laptop I choose to get, is going to last me the next 6 years. And I'm sorry, if you bought a PS4, you got ripped off, because in 2022 they're going to come out with the PS5. And then by the time 2025 rolls around, what's going to happen is, well, they're going to shut down anything PS4 related. Okay, now the PS3, they're already starting to shut down servers. Okay, you can't play Gran Turismo 5 online anymore, and that's just one example. They're going to be shutting down the PS3 Minecraft servers pretty soon. That was emailed to me. That was from Sony themselves, giving everybody a warning. I'm sure if any of you guys have their emails, you're well aware, because they'll email you what servers are shutting down. They also shut down the Killzone servers, or actually, they haven't shut them down yet. Excuse me. They're planning to shut down the Killzone servers. So if you play Killzone on the PS3, they're going to be shutting that down. Bungie is probably going to shut down Destiny within the next year or so on the PS3. Now, these are the servers and whatnot, and then the online services will also shut down too, because you can't play online without the servers. That's also another one of the advantages of a PC console, I found, because apparently you can make your own servers, and in doing so, that server lasts as long as you personally want to support it. And that being said, there are people that still have servers going on for games that have died a long time ago on a laptop. Like, there's still even a server for the original Star Wars Battlefront games on the PC, which is insane. So you can still play the first ever Star Wars Battlefront game that was actually made by Pandemic Studios and not EA. And same case scenario with Star Wars Battlefront 2. And there are still servers of that online. On the PS2, that's not the case. The PS2, they shut down servers, anything online, they shut down a long, long time ago. Which is unfortunate, because the PS2 was a lot more durable. And I haven't cleaned my PS2 in probably 3 years, and I did power on recently, and it still powers on. But the point being is, my PS3 is not working. I'm probably not going to buy another one. You can add me on Steam. You guys can even watch me on Steam, because Steam has a live streaming service, and they have a thing where you can watch people play as they play. So, you know, if you just don't want to watch on my YouTube, you can watch through Steam itself. You know, depending on just how many people I have watching, I might even set up a Patreon or something and have bonus content or stuff, or, you know, other things. But that's going to be like years and years down the line. That's going to be 5 or 6 years down the line. I'll probably have a job by then. But at any rate, my PS3 is not working. Add me on Steam if you have it. If you don't, I would actually recommend you get it, because they have, you know, cheap games and stuff. And I did do a video talking about the Acer Chromebook that I have, and, you know, altogether it only cost me like 88 bucks. No, wait, excuse me, 78 bucks. Because it was $9 for the charger, and then it was $69 for the actual laptop. And then plus tax, but shipping was free, so it was actually probably like $80 altogether. Very cheap, to say the least. You know, and especially considering that to get a new PS3 cost me $120. Right now I'm looking at a laptop, and I'll actually go into detail if I get it. I'll go into detail about that later. That will be a future coming video. But at any rate, you know, the news of this is that there's going to be PS2 game footage and PS1, because PS2 still have backwards compatibility, and PS3 doesn't, because Sony decided that we, quote, don't use it and don't need it. That's one of the other things of why I'm not going to buy a PS4, is because they removed backwards compatibility. And that allows me to break out these old things, which I actually did want to take a minute to talk about this particular thing. Now, what this is not a PS1 or a PS2. This is a Mega memory card, and so you can use this in a PS2, but you can save PS1 games. You can also use this in a PS1 and save PS1 games. You can also use this in PS2 and save PS2 games. However, in order to use one feature, you have to not use the other. So right now I have PS1 only written on it, because if I were to plug this in and use it to save a PS2 game, it wouldn't work. It wouldn't register it as a PS2 memory card. But if I plug in a PS1 memory card into my PS2 game and try to save the PS1 game, it will save it. So I will probably actually be playing Resident Evil 1. Then, you know, simple PS2 memory card. This one, what is this company? Oh, it's Hyco. Hyco, Hyko. Yeah, this company no longer in business, but they did a lot of like third-party products, and they actually manufactured PS2s for a long while after Sony stopped doing that. But if you want to play PS1 games and you don't want to have a whole separate PS1 system, do get one of these cards. They're called Mega memory cards, and you can typically find them at Gamers ETC. Unfortunately, the one in my city closed down. But Gamers ETC, from my personal experience, is way more trustworthy than GameStop or EB Games. Both of those will rip you off or whatnot. The other thing too is Gamers ETC, they do console repairs and whatnot, which is unfortunate that they closed down in my city, because I would actually have them fix my console. Because one, they'll do a good job. They can actually refurbish consoles properly. And two, not only that, but they have good customer service, and they actually listen to you. It's a lot easier when you have these giant stores and these guys, you have multiple guys that actually know what they're talking about and actually know how to fix systems, because Gamers ETC likes to hire people that actually have schooling on how to fix things. A particular one, Stockton, I went to, two of the guys worked for ITT Tech, and then one other guy worked for a printer copy, like one of those like office giant ones. He worked for one of those companies and fixed printers, so they knew how to actually properly refurbish consoles and fix problems. Right now, my only options are GameStop and fucking... Yeah, no, my only options is GameStop and shady people who run comic shops inside their house. I shit you not, there's a guy that does that in Stockton. Which is, by the way, that's illegal. So if you're seeing this video and you're still running a comic book shop inside of your house, you're still running a commercial business on a private sector, that's illegal. Which you might want to stop doing that. Because if somebody ever does call the cops on you, dude, you know, that's like a $2,000 fine. And if you can't pay that fine, that's a good 8 years in jail. Yeah. And by the way, Stockton PD, you know, they have to make daily quotas. So if you're committing that kind of a crime, they will hit you with the charges for that crime, because that will make their quotas. But my recommendation to anybody out here, having purchased 4 PS4s and found that they've had the durability equal or slightly less than an Xbox, because I've also gone through 4 of those, and I'm talking about the original Xbox, not the 360, because, well, the 360 is actually just as bad. I would go with a laptop, I would go with a Chromebook, I would go with, you know, because it's like, yeah, you're going to spend $400, but if you take care of that device, it's going to last you a lifetime. Whereas, I mean, my mother, she bought a laptop from Dell. She bought a laptop in, holy shit, she bought it in 2001. They still have that laptop today, and it still works. So buy a quality laptop, folks. And recommended brands, I'd say Asus, Acer, Chromebook, and Dell. Because those brands are just, they're like indestructible, and those companies are going to be around forever. And they have been around forever, so the parts are always going to exist. Whereas and they like to actually continue making parts even for their older stuff. Whereas with Sony, they like to give up on their consoles. And they like to hand it over to third parties, which, not always bad, but it's not always great, because PS3s are already scarce on parts. And that's why the whole power brick on a PS3 nowadays costs more than the entire fucking console. And that's pretty much it for news and, you know, just related discussion to this PS3 breaking and whatnot, and my state of mind. And, you know, just other products that I've mentioned, like the Mega memory card, and, you know, of course, the PS2, which, fun fact, if you didn't know, they didn't stop manufacturing the PS2 until 2013. And another fun fact, the PS2 is like probably one of the toughest consoles I've ever owned. You can flood these things with water, and they'll still, if you let them dry, they'll still probably start up. Can't really say that about any other console. I can't. Yeah, actually, some of the things that the PS2 will survive, I can't genuinely say about any other console. Demolition Ranch also did a video on the PS2 a while back where they shot a PS2 with different rounds, and the PS2 was stopping 45 ACP and still working after stopping at 45 ACP, which is pretty crazy to think about. But, you know, and if you have any questions or comments, or if you want to, you know, add me on Steam, you just forgot the name, you know, you forgot the exact spelling, or if you want to see a particular PS2 game or a particular Nintendo 64 game, because I do have a couple of those, or you want to see a particular mobile game, or, you know, game that's available on Steam or something being played, or, you know, something, you know, if you have any input, I do want to read your comments. If you want to thumbs down the video, like usual, I don't care. Do thumbs down the video. If you want to thumbs up the video, I also don't care. You know, that tells me you like the video. That's all that tells me. It tells me you don't like the video. Whatever. If you want to subscribe, go ahead and subscribe. But I'm not going to beg you to subscribe. I'm never going to do that. You know, if you don't want to subscribe, well, then don't subscribe. Then you won't have to see my content. Anything else, you know, has basically been addressed in the video, or will be addressed in a future video. So